Welcome to this week's edition of the Pete Mezzetti Show. I'm your host. This evening's topic is ALS and exactly what ALS and Lou Gehrig's disease is. And with me to discuss this evening's topic from the Connecticut ALS Foundation are Jackie and Stacy. Ladies, welcome.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Good. Thanks for having us.
Hey, thanks for coming down. So we're going to do a little intro of each of you. Stacy, tell us a little bit about yourselves, what you do for the ALS Foundation and how long you've been there.
Well, I've been with the ALS Association for 3 years.
Okay.
I'm a social worker and I'm the care services director for the chapter, so manage the programs and also work with the families who are down on the shoreline. And we have another social worker who works in the top part of the state.
You like it?
Yeah, I really love it. It's a really rewarding career, and it's life-changing every day. It really puts things into perspective, and it's a pleasure to have this as my job.
Cool. Jackie,
All right.
tell us about yourself.
So I've been at the ALS Association for a little over 4 years.
Okay.
I'm the development manager now. I've had a bunch of different roles. We have a small office. There are 7 of us right now. So right now I do the development and fundraising. My big focus is the Walk to Defeat ALS, which is held in the fall.
Mm-hmm.
I also do the website and all of our social media and all of that, and kind of everything in between. So,
All right.
yeah,
Okay.
it's like Stacy was saying, it definitely puts life in perspective for you. It teaches you to, not sweat the small stuff and really just enjoy every single day that you have here.
Exactly. So what exactly is ALS?
ALS is a progressive neuromuscular disease.
Mm-hmm.
It affects the nerve cells in the brain and the spinal cord, and what happens is the nerve cells die, and so they're not communicating to your muscles anymore. The muscles atrophy or weaken.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually it causes paralysis, and it only affects the voluntary muscles, so it does not affect the heart, which is a common misconception. Oftentimes people with ALS have trouble breathing. It's not because of their heart, it's because their diaphragm is the muscle that controls the inhale and the exhale, and they lose that strength. There's a few different kinds of ALS. One is bulbar, starts with speech and swallowing. One is sporadic, which means it starts in a limb, a hand, or a foot. Mm-hmm. And then it can also be genetic or familial, but that's only 10% of the cases.
Okay.
It affects everyone very differently. So that's why it is very hard to treat, to study, and to find a cure. But we're definitely going in the right direction.
And what I think is so important to understand about it is that your brain is fine when you have ALS. So you're essentially trapped in your own body, where eventually no muscles work except you know what's going on. You can't speak, you can't walk, you can't talk, but your brain's okay and you know what's going on. So,
Mm-hmm. Well, that's a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
That is definitely a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
So what else do you want to tell us about the organization and exactly what ALS is and what it does?
Mm-hmm. Well, we work with about 300 families per year.
Okay.
And 200 at any given time. So, unfortunately, people are passing away every year, and people are also getting diagnosed at the same rate. So, we're trying to find as many people in our state as possible to help bring our services and programs to. Everything we do is free to families, and ALS is a family disease. So, you have to make sure you maintain consistency in your child's life. They need to keep going to summer camp, after school activities. The caregiver needs to keep going out, maintain friendships, relationships, stay strong, and the patient also needs to maintain quality of life. Okay. And so technology is one thing that's really important. As Jackie was saying, when eventually the whole body is you're locked in your body, you need to be able to communicate. And so one technology that's really big in our field is eye gaze technology, and so you can actually use a computer using your eyes. So little things like that make a huge difference.
Really?
And
Wow.
I think in this day and age, what we could all agree is that technology and communication is not just picking up the phone and calling someone.
Exactly.
You know, it's texting people, it's Facebook, it's Twitter, it's Instagram, it's, you know, everything of being able to have that sense of independence, including, you know, doing your banking online, being able to grocery shop. That technology can help you do all of that stuff now, and still maintain a sense of independence and a higher quality of life. So it's, it really helps patients along the way to have eye gaze technology and iPads and all of that.
Exactly.
And also just to mention, we are active in public policy and advocacy. We just came back from our conference in Washington, D.C., where all of the other ALS chapters go down with families. We talk to our Congress members and senators. One of the issues was actually surrounding that technology piece where the Steve Gleason Act was introduced. I don't know if you know who Steve Gleason was, an NFL football player.
Okay.
He's pretty young. He was diagnosed with ALS about 2 years ago.
All right.
He uses that technology in which the only way he's able to communicate with his son, who's only a toddler, is through using this eye gaze technology.
Wow.
Last year, Medicare, which is a primary funding source for patients with ALS, decided, you know, they'll still provide the device, but you can't own it. You could have it taken away if you get sent to a hospital, and you can't unlock it, meaning you can only use it for speaking, to type in letters to speak, and you can't use it for internet texting or anything else. That's quality of life. So we're fighting that issue. The Senate passed the Steve Gleason Act, which would prevent all of these awful changes. And so we're waiting on the House to pass that, but we do have really supportive Congress members in our state, so we're thankful for that.
You think it's going to pass?
Yeah, I mean, it was unanimous in the Senate. I don't see
Okay.
why it wouldn't be unanimous.
In the House.
House.
Exactly,
It's
exactly.
kind of a,
So what exactly in the Connecticut chapter of ALS do you guys do?
I'll probably have Stacy talk a little bit more about that because that's really her
All right.
her position. But everything that we do is completely free of charge to the patient and the families. They're all of our programs are basically based to give a person with ALS independence, higher quality of life, including their family. This isn't just a disease that affects the patient. A lot of times the caregiver has to, you know, quit their job to take, you know, care of their loved one full time. I just met a girl who dropped out of med school to take care of her dad full time. So it's a lot of sacrifices on the entire family to spend more time with their loved one and help them through this time. So we're there for everyone, not just for the patient, but for the family. And Stacey will go into the specifics of that.
yeah, we offer several programs and services. Probably some of our most utilized programs are our durable equipment, medical equipment loaning. I mean,
Sure.
we loan everything out for free. We have things from iPads to recliner lift chairs, power wheelchairs, special utensils to help you eat easier. I mean, little things to the big things, we have them. We're really thankful we have really generous people who donate these items so that other people can use them. So a lot of times with insurance, you might not get a certain device in time, so we're kind of there in the interim, and we'll get you what you need, and we can get to you the day of, pretty much. I mean, Connecticut's a small state, so we're lucky in that way. We also spend a lot of time on the road doing home visits. We'll come to your home. Our office is in Milford, but we don't expect many people to go down to Milford.
Exactly.
95 is not too fun, so.
Yeah, no, not at all.
We provide 5 monthly support groups, some for everyone, some just for patients, some just for caregivers. We also provide the option to do online video groups. We provide accessible transportation for wheelchair-bound patients. We have financial assistance grants. And what I really tell people, it's hard to say what we do on paper, and it's really a matter of calling us, and if we can't do something, we'll find a resource for you. So we don't ever say no, we say, let me see what's out there.
Exactly.
There's a
Let me
lot
see,
of
we'll get back to
great
you.
organizations out there in addition to
Exactly.
ours, so.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, what else, you guys obviously do fundraising throughout the year. What is you guys have like one big major fundraiser?
Yeah, our major fundraiser is the Walk to Defeat ALS.
Okay.
So we do 3 walks in the fall. We do, this year we have our Greater Hartford Walk at Rentschler Field on September 27th. New Haven, we do one at Lighthouse Point Park. That's on October 4th. And then Westport at Sherwood Island on October 17th this year. So that's really the fundraising from the Walk to Defeat ALS accounts for over half of our operating budget. So a lot of the programs Stacy was talking about, they're successful because of the success of the Walk to Defeat ALS. So we usually attract about over 3,000 participants for all, in all 3 walks combined, about 150 teams. There are people who are living with ALS, some people who have lost a loved one to ALS years ago, companies, hospital teams. I mean, we have every kind of community group and everything. And as awful of a disease as it is, and when you're all getting together because everyone has that one thing in common, it's amazing what a great day that is. There's so much hope. There's so much support. It's kind of like the one thing that's bringing everyone together. They're not alone.
Right.
ALS affects about 300 people in Connecticut a year. It's a smaller disease, but it still affects so many people, and it leaves such an impact on someone's life that once you're affected by it, once you see an athlete who's not able to walk anymore, a painter who's not able to paint anymore, you don't forget it. And so to go to one of these walks is your way to tribute and to do something about it.
Exactly.
So that's our real main fundraiser. Throughout the summer, we have a lot of volunteers that put on events. June 2nd, we have one at the Pine Orchard Club, a golf tournament in memory of Paul Sturgis.
Sure.
June 20th, there's a Hartford Rib-Off. There's a Battle of the Bands in August. We have kickball tournaments, dodgeball tournaments. It's a lot of fun. They're all volunteer driven. So our events calendar on our website and our Facebook page is really the best way to stay up to date on, the fun stuff that's going on. Yeah.
That was going to be my next question. If people want more information on the organization, is there a website they can go to?
Yeah, our website's alsact.org.
Okay.
They could call our office, 203-874-5050. And our Facebook page, you could just search ALS ACT or the ALS Association Connecticut chapter. We post a lot of stuff on there. We're very active, especially since the success of the Ice Bucket Challenge. It really shows the impact that social media can have on a disease and an organization. And we're so fortunate to have all of that increased awareness. So we're definitely active on all of our social media, Instagram, Twitter, all of that. So.
Speaking about ice buckets, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
How did the idea of the Ice Bucket Challenge come to?
Well, Pete Frates is a Boston College baseball player. He was captain of the baseball team, graduated a few years ago, and he was diagnosed with ALS. He's 32 maybe?
Early 30s.
Yeah, he's very young. Average age to be diagnosed with ALS is about 60, but we see every which way. So he's pretty young, and he just kind of started it with his friends, and there was a few other patients in the area that were around his age that wanted to kind of make light of such a terrible thing and try to get some kind of competitive, funny thing going on, and it just spread like crazy. It was amazing. I mean,
The best part was visiting families, and they were happy to feel not so isolated, and people knew what was going on with them, and it was something positive to get involved with for a disease that has no known cause or cure. The Ice Bucket Challenge money is funding that main goal, which is to find a cure.
Right. And obviously you guys did very well on the Ice Bucket Challenge, monetarily wise.
yeah, on a national level, I think they're saying about $120 million came in that 2-week period, which really just helps us not only invest in new research programs, but also smartly invest for long-term sustainable growth to continue investing in the research programs that are showing promise. Locally in Connecticut, we're able to double our funding for the programs that we provide. So, so for that, it's not cheap to for any of this. So we're able to comfortably now give care assist grants to patients who need to make home modifications, who need caregivers respite. We're able to do all of that pretty comfortably now.
Would you guys mind sticking around for another segment?
Oh, absolutely.
All right, we'll be right back.
Kids will spend 15 minutes watching online videos like this one.
Brushing for 2 minutes now can save your child from severe tooth pain later. 2 minutes, twice a day. They have the time.
And welcome back to this week's edition of the Pete Mezzetti Show. Sitting here with Jackie and Stacy from the Connecticut ALS Foundation. Ladies, welcome back.
Thank you.
No problem, no problem. So I was wondering if we can talk a little bit about treatments of ALS and exactly if there is.
So there's no cure for ALS. There's one FDA-approved medication called Riluzole that was found to prolong life for 3 months, and many patients take that differently.
Okay.
That's a very controversial and personal decision if you want to take that medication. However, there is no promising treatment or cure at this point. So we work with the hospital for Special Care ALS Center. We have an ALS Association Certified Center of Excellence there. And we provide a multidisciplinary clinic team. So basically, a patient with ALS will go to this clinic and they'll see a whole team of people instead of having to go to multiple appointments. They'll see physical therapist, speech, occupational therapist, dietitian, nurse, neurologist, social worker, a lot of people on this team that basically it's proven that if a patient can get to these ALS clinics at least every 3 months, their quality of life is that much better because they're getting the appropriate interventions for all the symptoms that they have. For example, when they go to these ALS clinics, they need to have their pulmonary and respiratory functions tested because those might have a significant marker as for when someone might need breathing assistance or a feeding tube and different things. So it's very important for them to receive multidisciplinary care.
Okay. Jackie, anything you'd like to add?
Well, I guess as we were talking about with the Walk to Defeat ALS, a lot of our funding also goes to help funding this clinic at the Hospital for Special Care. It's in New Britain. A lot of our patients go there because they are an ALS certified center of excellence. We've had such great, reviews about this team because the patient actually stays in one room and all the doctors come to them and all the specialists come to them. When you have ALS, it's hard to get around. They're usually in wheelchairs, walkers, canes. So to be able to be in one spot and to think if you didn't have that, how many separate appointments you would have, you'd be going to the doctors every single day.
Of course you would.
So this is once every 3 months. We're really lucky to have a great team there. We work very closely with them, and we're lucky to have them as partners with us. So
it's the only certified center in the state, but some people in our state, as you know, they're closer to New York City or they're closer to Massachusetts. So there are other really great ALS clinics out there. And also, for example, up at Mass General, there's some serious research going on. So stem cell treatments and many other clinical drug trials. So we just try to do our best to keep up to date about what each center is doing and all the research. Many patients want to participate in research. They want to provide hope for future diagnosed individuals. So we find that whatever they can do to participate in studies or research, they want to know about.
Okay. Now, as far as, let's see, what else do we want to tell us about tell us about the conference in Washington. You guys were recently down in DC not long ago.
Yeah.
Tell us about it.
Last week we were down there. It's actually every chapter from the ALS Association goes down to DC we went down Sunday on Mother's Day and stayed till Tuesday. Tuesday was our big day on the Hill. We had appointments with all 5 of our representatives and our 2 senators. And we bring 3 families with us that have been affected by ALS in some way, and they basically come to the 7 offices and share their story, talk about how ALS affected their life. And on the ALS Association side, we had 4 different priorities of what we went in there and talked about to, do different things like the speech generating devices that Stacey was talking about earlier, to increase funding for research,
And so it's really important everyone speaks with one mission when we're down there. So we're having meetings with our Connecticut reps, but everyone else is speaking with that same voice.
Right.
And so our priorities were the Steve Gleason Act, which is the communication devices, having that passed in Congress. The CDC runs the National ALS Registry, so we need to continue funding for that. It's another research tool to generate common possible causes for the disease. The Department of Defense funds the ALS research program because veterans are twice as likely to be diagnosed with ALS.
Okay.
So we got to keep the talk going for them to keep funding that.
Exactly.
And then the last thing is for dormant therapies, which is a little bit more of a complicated one, but it's basically making sure drugs don't fall off the pipeline and they're able to come through and not have to worry about patents and patent protection and timelines. That's the last thing that we should be worried about, is a drug getting close and then they fall out of patent protection. So it's kind of scary to think of that. But in general, our senators are really interested in research for many chronic terminal diseases. They held a meeting with us in the fall last year to talk about increasing funding through the NIH for research, and so they really have our backs on that one.
Okay.
Yeah, it was my first year going, and it had such a huge impact on me, and you can tell on the congressmen and women that we visited, the staffers. It's such, when you see ALS and when you hear the stories, you want to do whatever you can to help it. And to me, it's kind of maybe one of our more complicated things that we do in our mission. But it's definitely such a big picture. We're in there asking for $20 million for research funding. We're not in there looking for small things, and it's really the things that are going to change the future of this disease and brings a lot of hope to all of us. So
Exactly.
it's very cool.
Now, what are some of the other events, fundraisers, walks, runs? And I hear something about ice buckets.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about that in a few. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. You guys do have a couple walks coming up, I believe, and I was wondering if you can maybe tell us a little bit about this.
Yeah, we have our walks coming up in the fall. We have Greater Hartford at Rentschler Field, September 27th. New Haven at Lighthouse Point, October 4th, and Westport at Sherwood Island on October 17th. So that's really our big fundraiser, or it was our big fundraiser until a little thing called the Ice Bucket Challenge came last year into our lives. It really flipped everything upside down of what we've ever known and what we've ever been used to with ALS. You would go and see someone in the grocery store, and it's, what are you doing now? Oh, I work for ALS Association. Oh, it's Lou Gehrig's disease. Oh, it's this. And it took you 25 minutes to tell them what this disease was. Now it's, I work for the ALS Association. Oh my gosh, Ice Bucket Challenge. Oh, and then, and it's that connection, it's the awareness.
Exactly.
And, we had some families calling us that lost a loved one 14 years ago and saying how unbelievable this was and just how great it was, how much it touched them. We had patients and caregivers at support groups saying that all they do all day long is just watch all these videos, and they just laugh and laugh together. And when you're facing ALS and you know your prognosis is not good, and you can sit there and laugh. I mean, what more could you ever ask for? So are we going to do it again this year? Absolutely. So get ready. In August is Ice Bucket Challenge month, and we are going to start it up again. Hopefully have even a better reaction as last year. Now everyone knows the deal, what to do. Everyone's going to get their ice ready, and
they're going to be our first challenge.
Yeah, get ready.
I was going to say, last time you guys did this, I got challenged by no one. Nobody
See, there's-
even batted the eye.
you're in
There's a lot of people out there, though, like you, that still have to do it.
There's a lot of viewers, listeners, and I'm sure if we sell raffle tickets,
Oh, yeah.
we'll come throw things at me.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't
yeah.
want to give anybody any ideas.
We saw the most creative ideas of how to do this. There were a few schools that sold raffle tickets, and whoever's raffle ticket got picked got to dump the ice on their principal. So schools out there,
Yeah.
get some ideas.
There you go.
We had just so much fun with it throughout the whole year of, such creative ideas and different silly things that people did. I mean, it was amazing. So it was a lot of fun.
I was going to say, and roughly, how much money did we raise?
On a national level, we're saying about $120 million in 2 months, which is outstanding. I mean, it's unheard of. On a local level, with the increased funding, we were able to double our funding, our budget for our care services programs that we
Wow.
offer to patients. So we're able to do more things with more patients, which is why we're here at the Connecticut chapter. So to be able to do that and but as great as it was, we got to keep going with it. We got to use the momentum and do it again this year and, just keep going with it because $120 million is incredible and it's amazing. And it was the best probably month that we've ever worked at this place.
Yeah.
But they say on average it takes $1 to $2 billion to find a treatment or a cure for a disease.
For one drug.
For one drug.
One drug.
For the whole entire lifespan of a drug is $1 to $2 billion. So we got a lot more work to do, but
It's okay.
now we have so much more support and awareness, and we learned so many people had connections that we never knew about.
Exactly.
That came out and said, I didn't even know you guys existed, or I had a loved one that passed this many years ago. So we're lucky for that increased awareness, and we're looking to really keep it going this year.
I was going to say, I didn't even know you guys existed. I was talking to a friend of mine, and he was like, I watch your show all the time, and have you ever thought about having anybody on from Connecticut ALS? I'm like, no. And I reached out to you,
Yep.
and you and I have been talking, and here we are.
Yeah.
We really appreciate it.
Not a problem.
We're here, it's the Ice Bucket Challenge, and we're here to continue to challenge ALS and find a cure, and in the meantime, continue providing quality of life to patients and families, and we're just going to keep on fighting.
Hopefully we'll have you guys on again.
Absolutely. We're going to kick off Ice Bucket Challenge.
Are we kicking off?
Get ready.
All right.
Get ready.
Mezzetti
Kick
Ice
off
Bucket
the
Challenge.
Challenge. So watch for the show in July or August, and we'll kick it off before we say goodnight, I want to say thank you to you guys for coming down again.
Thank you.
We'll have you on again?
Thank you. Absolutely.
Yes.
All right.
We'll be ready.
On behalf of Jackie, Stacy, I'm Peter. Thanks. Good night, and we'll see you next week.